much for your patience. It's going to be well worth it to see your next U.S. Senator, James Talarico. Involved State Board of Education member, Stacy Giles.
Again, my name is Stacy Giles, and I wear many hats. I am an attorney, a mentor, your neighbor, and a proud elected member of the Texas State Board of Education. Houston is my home. You are my people, and I am here today because I believe with everything in me that each one of us deserves a good community and a good state to call home. Every morning I go out with prayer, I thank God for another day, and I remind myself of who I am and what I am called to do. And I am sure my friend James Talarico does too. James Talarico is called to serve, and that's why I'm here. This past session, I fought to get millions of dollars for the lowest performing campuses across the state, which requires support from the State House and the State Senate. And James Talarico did not flinch. He supported me. Let me brag on James really quickly. He is steady. He is faithful. And he does not bend to pressure. He does not back down when it matters most. And he remembers exactly what we're fighting for. Our children, our families, and our communities. So I need you to hear me. We need James Talarico in the U.S. Senate now. So let's block walk for him. Let's raise the money for him. And when I say tell up, I want you to say Rico. Tell up. Rico. Tell up. Rico. Tell up. Rico. I love you, Houston. And let's go, James Talarico. So I forgot to introduce the next person. I'm sorry. Now I must say, this young, beautiful woman also supported me for that intervention program, and I will not forget that. She is a fighter in her own right. Houston, give it up for your state representative, Ms. Lauren Ashley Simmons.
Go to jamestalarico.com. I need you to sign up for a volunteership. I need you to sign up for a volunteership. If you have a little extra change jiggling around in your pocket, I need you to donate. And let me tell you, as a grassroots level candidate, that $5 a month makes a difference. That $10 makes a difference. If you got big checks, write them. If you don't, we need you. We need boots on the ground. And then, we can do this. We are going to do this, and we will win. Now, for what y'all all been waiting for. And without further ado, our next United States Senator from the great state of Texas, James Talarico.
these two are some of the most talented, fearless, effective young leaders in our state, and I am so proud to call them my friends. Thank you to the volunteers in the vest who made this event possible. And thank you to all of you who showed up here on very short notice. It means the world. The last few days have been a whirlwind. We launched this campaign in the United States Senate in my hometown of Round Rock, Texas on Tuesday. We started off that day with $0 in our Senate campaign account. But in just the first 12 hours, thousands of Texans from across the state giving $5, $10, $15 raised more than $1 million. Thousands of Texans have showed up in this first week to rally with us in Round Rock, in San Antonio, last night in Fort Bend, and now here in Houston. And this morning, I joined the picket line downtown in Houston. Where striking hotel workers are demanding better wages and better working conditions, because this is truly a campaign of, by, and for the people. 8 years ago, I launched my very first campaign for the Texas House of Representatives back home in Williamson County. And back then, I was told the race was unwinnable. I was told flipping a Trump district was impossible. I was told I was too young. I was told I didn't have the money or the political connections to win. I was the underdog in that race. But my community and I ran an aggressive, authentic, unorthodox campaign that brought people together, and on election night, we flipped that district with 51% of the vote. Now I'm the underdog again in this race, both in the primary and in the general. But my life has taught me always bet on the underdog. Before I was a politician, I was a public school teacher. I taught 6th grade language arts at Rhodes Middle School on the west side of San Antonio. I often say that teaching middle school is the best preparation for politics. If you want a leader who can be both tough and compassionate, hire a middle school teacher. The west side of San Antonio is a beautiful, historic Mexican-American neighborhood. It's also one of the poorest zip codes in the entire state of Texas. Every day, my students struggle heroically to overcome poverty, racism, and systems designed to hold them back. My students weren't just kids, they were survivors, dreamers, fighters. Every day in the classroom, I saw it in their eyes. This unshakable resolve, this unconquered spirit. Growing up, I saw that same fight in my mom, a preacher's daughter from Laredo who left home at 19 and moved up to Austin. She met my birth father, a 21-year-old high school dropout whose drinking problem sometimes led to violence. And one night, he became abusive again. But that night, my mother's love rose to meet it. She packed all of our stuff into her little Ford Escort. She drove me to the hotel where she worked. She begged the manager to let us stay in one of the rooms until we found this little apartment in East Austin. There wasn't room for a nursery, so I slept in a crib in her closet. And she was so proud of that closet. She decorated with toys and pictures. No one was going to tell her it wasn't a nursery. Always bet on the underdog. Like my students, my mom was a fighter. And back then, she looked over at the state capitol and she saw Texas Democrats like Ann Richards and Bob Bullock fighting for her. And so, no joke, when I was 5 years old, she told me we were Democrats. Because, she said, Democrats fight for the people. Let's be very honest. We haven't seen that kind of fight from the National Democratic Party in quite a while. But this critical moment in our country's history demands fighters, not folders. Imagine a Democratic Party that stands up to big money and isn't captured by it. Imagine a Democratic Party that listens to the people, not DC consultants. Imagine a Democratic Party that delivers on housing, healthcare, and education, and actually defeats the right-wing extremists who have taken over this country. National Democrats don't know how to fight. They're comfortable on the coast and comfortable with the status quo. But there's something about living in a red state that makes you scrappy. Because Texas Democrats know how to fight. Whether it was LBJ pushing the Great Society through Congress, or Barbara Jordan impeaching Richard Nixon, or Wendy Davis holding the floor of the Texas Senate for 15 hours, or Beto O'Rourke interrupting Greg Abbott's press conference, or Texas House Democrats breaking quorum to shine a national spotlight. Texas Democrats know how to fight for people. That is what we do. We fight for the underdogs. We fight for the many against the powerful few, whether they're bullies, bigots, or billionaires. You know, the more I see what's happening in this state and in this country, the more I think the only minority destroying America is the billionaires. Trans people are 1% of the population. Muslims, 1% of the population. Undocumented people, 1% of the population. We are focused on the wrong 1%. Muslims aren't defunding our schools. Immigrants aren't cutting taxes for themselves and their rich friends. It's the billionaires and their puppet politicians. The culture wars are a smokescreen. So many of the divisions in this state and in this country are manufactured by billionaires who want us fighting each other so that we're not fighting them. They want us looking left and right at our neighbors so that we're not looking up at them. The biggest divide in our politics is not left versus right, it is top versus bottom. There are people at the top, the Elon Musks, the Rupert Murdochs, the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world. They work so hard to keep us angry and divided because our unity is a threat to their wealth and their power. So their social media algorithms and their cable news networks tear us apart. They divide us by party, by race, by gender, by religion, so that we don't notice that they are closing our schools, gutting our health care, and cutting taxes for themselves while they raise taxes on all of us. It is the oldest strategy in the world: divide and conquer. They want to keep us from seeing all that we have in common. They want to keep us from realizing that there is far more that unites us than divides us. Because once we do, we will come together across party, across race, across gender, across religion, to take power back for ourselves and our communities. There is something broken in America. Our economy is broken. Our political system is broken. Even our relationships with each other feel broken. That's because the most powerful people in the world want it that way. My faith teaches me to love my neighbor as myself. Not just my neighbors who look like me. Not just my neighbors who pray like me. Not just my neighbors who vote like me. I am called to love all of my neighbors the way I love myself. Despite our differences, we all want the same things. A safe neighborhood, a good job, a high-quality, well-funded public school, and the ability to see a doctor when we need one. I am tired of being pitted against my neighbor. I am tired of being told to hate my neighbor. It has been more than 10 years of this kind of politics. Politics as blood sport. Politics as trolling and owning. Politics as total war. It tears families apart. It ends friendships. And it leaves us all feeling terrible all of the time. There is a deep hunger in this state and in this country for a different kind of politics. Not a politics of fear, not a politics of hate, not a politics of division, but a politics of love. A love that can heal what's broken in this country. You know, I probably shouldn't start a political campaign by saying something nice about my opponent. But Colin Allred is a good man. We all put our trust in him as our Democratic nominee 2 years ago. And I was out there with a lot of you trying to help him defeat Ted Cruz. And at the time, I said, Ted Cruz is the worst senator in America. But looking at the current Republican field, I think that title might be up for grabs. Because neither John Cornyn nor Ken Paxton deserve the honor of representing this great state in our nation. Both of them are more interested in serving their billionaire donors than serving the people of Texas. Both of them have sold us out time and time again. Ken Paxton's crimes are well known. Yes, they are. I was part of the bipartisan majority in the Texas House that impeached our corrupt governor. But I think John Cornyn may be even more corrupt than Ken Paxton. Because John Cornyn was the deciding vote on that big, ugly bill. Kicking millions of Texans off their health care. Taking food out of the mouths of hungry Texas children, all to give another tax break to his donors. We oftentimes think of corruption as something that's illegal. But corruption is really just the betrayal of the public's trust. It is the abuse of your public office. By casting the deciding vote on that big, ugly bill, John Cornyn committed an act of corruption of the highest order. And it is why he has forfeited the right to represent our state in our nation. I want to leave you with one last thought. My granddad was a Baptist preacher in South Texas. And when I was real little, he told me that we follow a barefoot rabbi that gave just 2 commandments. Love God and love neighbor. Because there is no love of God without love of neighbor. Every single person bears the image of the Savior, however you define that. Every single person is holy. Every single person counts. This American experiment of ours started with that same self-evident truth that all people are created equal. This democracy is a lot more than a constitution. It's a covenant. It's a relationship between neighbors. It's a promise that we make to each other every day to share this beautiful country. Those billionaires and their public politicians are breaking that sacred promise. Breaking promises in a relationship is not love, it's abuse. And my mom taught me that true love doesn't tolerate abuse. 2,000 years ago, when the powerful few rigged the system, that barefoot rabbi walked into the seat of power and flipped over the tables of injustice. His love rose to meet abuse without becoming it. To those who love this state, to those who love this country, to those who love our neighbors, it's time to start flipping tables. My granddad taught me. That's what my mom taught me on the east side of Austin. It's what my students taught me on the west side of San Antonio. It's what LPJ and Barbara Jordan taught me. It's what Wendy and Beto taught me. It's what Lauren and Stacy taught me. And together, it is how the underdogs will take back this state and this country in 2020.